So, good morning, everyone, or whatever part of day it is for you, where you are at. My name is Benni De Jagere, and I will be I'll be going into how to write a session abstract to get chosen to speak in the next 10 minutes. Really short about myself. As I mentioned, my name is Benni De Jagere, and since December, I am a member of the Power BI CAP team. I'm also engaged with a user group in Belgium called dataminds.be. If you want to find me on any of the social channels, if you want to reach out afterwards, please feel free to do so. I've listed them here. Or if you just look for my name, you probably won't find that many other people with the same name out there. That said, I do have a small outtake on life where I am not a big fan of pie charts, and I spend lots of my time to try to convince people that it is effectively not a good idea. Before I go in, I want to explicitly mention that this is based on my own experiences. I've been a conference organizer, I've been a member on a program committee, I've been a speaker myself, I've been an attendee, and this is based on what I've seen, what I've found that works, and what I've found that doesn't work. Hence, it is very subjective. And in the end, all organizations have their own subtleties. I mean, everyone has their own accents, their own touch points, and this does not give you a 100% guarantee that you will get selected every single time. There. Before we start, there are a few things I want you to think about. The first one is, why do you want to present? Why do you want to give these sessions? Do you want to have standing room only in your sessions and have 500 people gasp in awe at you? Do you just want to share your knowledge? Or do you want to drive marketing to your website, to your sales point, whatever? I mean, whatever your reason is, if you want to present, that's a good thing. The thing is, writing those session abstracts is actually not about getting as many people in your session, but it's keeping as many people out of your session for the hot take. Why am I saying this? You want to do this to get repeating, recurring, and attendees and organizers to come back to you. So you want only the people in there that can benefit from your message at that specific point, because you're tailoring your message to a specific segment. And you want to get those people in that can benefit from that. Does that mean that other people cannot join? No, but they may necessarily not have as much benefit for this one, and they may not be as happy with the session afterwards. And then the second one is, where are you applying to speak? Is this a super serious PhD doctorate only conference session? Well, then maybe with your semi-joking session, you're not going to be the best fit. Is this, for instance, a session where they're only accepting 10-minute sessions and you're coming in with a 3-day workshop? Then that might not necessarily also be a good thing. So research where you're applying to speak and try to figure out what kind of specialties, what kind of subtleties they have. And even reach out to organizers, because you can actually get some info from them if you just ask. The session abstract, or why the hell should we bother with this, is, let me put it simple. Most of us don't have a name or reputation where we can just walk up anywhere and say, hey, I'm presenting here for you. Most of us still have to sell ourselves. We still have to submit that session abstract and make sure that people, that organizers, that committees want to get us to present their session. And that is why we write that session abstract. For one thing. The thing is, you're also writing it for yourself, because writing that abstract helps you list down specifics. It helps you determine the scope of the session that you're trying to give. It helps the organizers or the committees assess the compatibility of your session to the type of schedule, to the type of event that they're trying to run. And then lastly, a difficult group, I will be honest about this, for attendees. Is this the right session for me? What can I learn when I go to this session? And then when you're writing the actual abstract, there are 4 things I want you to define. First one being, who is my audience? Am I targeting developers? Am I targeting business people? Am I targeting financial controllers? Am I targeting C-level? Am I targeting marketing people? It doesn't have to be a single answer, but getting a general grip is going to help you a lot. The same thing with the level. Typically in the events that we see is level 100 to 500, where you go from the absolute basics to some mind-melting stuff. Getting that level down is a very useful thing as well, because lots of people do decide on levels where they actually go or not. Prereqs, do you require people to have a basic knowledge of SQL before they walk in? Do they have to know something before they actually walk in? And then when they have left your session, what will they have learned, or what should they have learned when they walk out? Commonly, we see a structure for abstracts being the following. You have a title, which is usually one single sentence that's used in the schedule, the abstract, or the synopsis, the brief summary of your session, notes, which is private to both you and the organizing or the committee per extent, and then your bio, which is your personal presentation. There are organizations that also do require a blurb or an even shorter version of the abstract, but I've willingly kept this one out for this one. So the title should be kept short and sweet, meaning it should include what problem you're having or what problem you're trying to solve, a specific technology, a specific problem statement you're trying to solve. But it can also work based on the audience that you're trying to do some quirky stuff with it, that you're trying to reference something for current events or whatever. The thing is that you want to avoid overly long titles. And I realize that I've made a capital sin on this very well session as well. The thing is, why am I saying this, is those titles usually also get included in schedules, in text boxes, etc. So if you have a very long title, that means that fonts are going to be shrunk or titles are going to be truncated, and it may not necessarily come across completely the way you want it to with your attendees. So think too long didn't read, think a very short title that captivates the problem that you're trying to solve. The abstract should differentiate with the title. For instance, if I'm doing Introduction to Power BI as my title, the abstract shouldn't be Introduction to Power BI. And I know I will also not accept to do as the session abstract. That's just me putting it out there for you. Usually, I try to start with the problem, the scenario, the situation that I'm trying to solve or describe in the session that I want to do, and then go into describing the audience, the prereqs, and the learning objectives that I've defined before writing my actual abstract. And the thing is, I want to avoid situations where I say, we'll look at a number of techniques, or we'll look at some common scenarios for. Those are very easy words when you're not having completely finished the abstract. But typically, I find it's better that you actually describe some of those common scenarios or some of those common techniques, what you're actually trying to do, because attendees can read this and determine, oh, yes, well, he's laying out 4 techniques, but I've not seen 3 of them, or I've already seen 3 of them. So I want to learn about this one. It helps them determine if it fits for them or not. Ideally, and this is subjective, I go for 2 to 4 paragraphs of text. It can be shorter, it can be longer. Main thing is make sure it's phonetically and correct with grammar, and make sure that you check all for spelling mistakes, that it is a text that makes sense as well. Notes is private to you and the organizing committee, and that can help you get extra content over to them, meaning that you can include prior runs or feedback you've gotten or changes you intend to make based on something you've learned. It can also say that, hey, this is a level 300 session, but if you need to fit better into your schedule, I can make this into a 200 session or 100 session. If you need me to change something, that willingness to be flexible can really help you get selected as well. And then the bio should include the relevant and the updated information about yourself. It shouldn't reflect the information that you were a BI analyst at a company 5 years ago. It should be updated and relevant. And depending on where you're trying to submit your session, should be kept professional / semi-professional. Make sure that you include the links to your online portfolios, the GitHub, LinkedIn's, websites, whatever, that people can actually go ahead and find something where you have previous work lined up as well. Think about the headshot you're trying to use. That party photo from 2017 where you cut off the person next to you may not necessarily be the right photo to use. And then, before you hit send, because I'm really blasting through this, make sure that you get someone to help you. Get some person to read this for you. Ask someone you know. And that can be anyone. That can be a person with a tech background. That can be another speaker. Have them read this. And after they've read this, have them answer some basic questions. Who should attend this session? What will we learn? And why am I doing this session? Have them answer these basic questions to you. Because if you've written your abstract in a correct manner, they will be able to answer this question to you, even if they have no technical knowledge at all. and that will really help you as well. And consider reaching out to other speakers, organizers, volunteers, whatever. I mean, Catherine said it that we're aggressively friendly in our data community. We love to help out people. Reach out to them, ask a question, and if they don't have time, they will send you to someone that does have time for this. That said, with these 10 minutes, I went over about 10 seconds. Please do take these tips with you and make your own set of best practices of handles for you to use in this particular team. That said, I am out of time. I want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions, put them in the chat window. I'm still here for a good few minutes, or reach out to me afterwards. That said, William, Ben, thank you for having me, and I hope to see you soon somewhere.